Yes, there are photographs that are circulating on Facebook and other places that show some people looking somewhat like this, man and woman, and now looking more like this. Hello, fairy finders and fairy seekers. Welcome to FaerieQuest. Today's Ask the Faeries video is for the week of February 8th through February 14th. So we're going to shuffle up the cards and see what the fairies have to share with us for this week. All right. Alrighty, card number 1 is the Ace of Hearts. Card number 2 is the 9 of Hearts. Card number 3 is the Queen of Diamonds. Card number 4 is the 5 of Hearts. Wow, we haven't had hearts for such a long time, and now 3/4 of this reading is hearts and just 1 diamond. So we are all red. That doesn't necessarily mean a good thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing either. So let's see what the fairies have to share with us. So the first card offered here by the fairies is the Ace of Hearts, which in this deck is called Agana, which is another word for water. And this card depicts us in our emotional body. And as we can see, we have plenty of emotion going on here. This is all emotion, the hearts. And there's no earth in which to curb that emotion in any way. Earth and water complement one another because the earth creates a vessel that the water can safely rest in. We do not have that here. So there's a lot of emotion running amok. This card here is to share with us who we are as human beings, to remind us that we are emotional beings. And it is emotion that we turn to. It's not just love. This is the reason that we go to war. It's the reason that we have passion towards one another. It is the reason sometimes for which we die. That's how emotional we are as human beings. And this location is where a diamond should be, but there is no diamond there. And what that's sharing is that we have no fire left in us, it seems. Our emotional well, which is deep down inside of us and comes welling up when it's needed, that is not functioning as powerfully as it should. It's almost as though it's drying up because so much has happened through this past year, 2020, and already at the beginning of this 2021, that we are numb, I guess you could say, kind of numb-like. So the well is not functioning as it should. And when that well does not function as it should, the water becomes stagnant. We become stagnant. There's no fire in us. We are accustomed to loving as we choose. We are accustomed to kissing and hugging and showing our emotion, whether it be absolute anger, which that seems to be the emotion that has the most power right now, is anger. Subconsciously, we know that that's not who we are, but that is where a lot of this emotion is going. Now, when we move down to the 9 of Hearts, Gilles de Rais is what this card is called in this deck, and it shows a man peeking through a tear in the card, and also the hearts in the card dripping. The point of that is the person, Gilles de Rais, in this deck, he was a good guy, or seemingly appeared to be a good guy, until he was given power. And all of a sudden, that power went to his head, and he just became a very power-hungry kind of individual, and a very angry individual. And this seems to be where we are at currently. And part of why the anger is the way the anger is. This card is showing anger beyond, or emotion literally beyond control. This is not just singular people, and it's not just about one single thing. People are angry for everything that has happened through 2020, the businesses closing, having to be locked down, the inability to be able to be with loved ones, whether they be elderly or whether they be grandchildren. There are so many things that people are angry about. And now, with those who expected something specific to happen, when our country, meaning the U.S., even though this is wholly a global thing, the U.S. election did not go as most believed it should. So now the person in office, I believe, is what this card is focused on. Some people are very pleased. Well, I should say some people were very pleased at the outcome of the election, and others were very, very angry. So now, however, as a little time has gone by and the true colors of this elected official are coming through, people on both sides of the coin, so to speak, are angry. And that anger is so emotional. Now, keep in mind that no matter how emotional we become, how emotional we get, nothing has changed. We don't have a club yet, which means that creativeness, that individualism, that ability to breathe, the ability to speak our truth, our freedom is still no closer than it was before, at least in appearances. So no matter how angry or how happy we get or can get, because as I said, there's not a lot of fire here, at least as it should be, if we were able to express our emotions the way that we need to, but censorship kind of takes that away too. So nothing has really changed. We are still not being given the freedoms. And the thing of it is are we supposed to be given those freedoms, or are we supposed to take those freedoms? There's a question. So in the third position is the Queen of Diamonds. Her name is Livia. She is a very wealthy queen, and she is wife, obviously, to the King of Diamonds, who has oftentimes graced this position. And this card depicts a woman who, though wealthy, she is a very warm and inviting individual. She will tell you the truth, always tell you the truth. She just can't seem to not tell you the truth. And it's always colored, despite what the truth might be, it is always colored by a positive twist, I guess you could say. A positive twist that makes sure that whatever news she is giving, whatever truth she is giving, is done softly, gently, but with power. And she holds this vessel here that is perhaps the start of where the emotions can flow into. It's small. It would obviously have to grow to deal with all these emotions, but she's offering this as a start. Now, I look at her as we have on a number of other readings where the light workers were being called in to kind of slow it down, to bring forth the wisdom that should be a part of us as humans, our connectedness should be bringing us together. But instead, the circumstances of what's been going on in the world are tearing us apart. And that is perfect for these people who want control, who want to make sure we're not breathing, who want to make sure that we are just a clump of emotion, fear especially, and not individuals at all. They don't want us to think. They don't want us to do anything for ourselves. They want to control it all. And the light workers are here to help absorb much of this emotion that is happening right now. They're willing to absorb that for us. Many of us are light workers, and we show our support and try to help others open their eyes, but this is not an easy task. Many times we have to do this with comfort and love, but again, it cannot come directly from the heart, or the light workers would break down as well. They need to stay somewhat stoic, keep the eye on the prize, so to speak. Now, this last card we have seen before, and this is the Fata Morgana card, which is basically the spell of Morgana. And as we've talked about before, Morgana is the Queen of Spades, who is the wife of the King of Spades, who wants to take over us and the earth. That is what is happening in this second card here, and with the president who was elected to office. But a lot more people, with the help of the light workers, the fairies, the spirit guides, the angels, are starting to see the hag under the water. The truth of everything that is going on is being made very, very clear. Okay? Starting to look like this, where there's no designation between the girl here and the hag here. The lies are coming forward. And, you know, Mother Earth is crying too. Mother Earth is doing her best as well to show us that there's bad things happening. She has to fight back in her own way too, but she also needs our help. So somehow or another, we need to open up that inner well to something other than anger and hate. We were never meant to be that way. We were never meant to show that kind of lack of purity. The emotions that come from us are pure. That's what they're meant for. They're pure. It's an inner well of purity like no other. We aren't born angry. We become angry because of circumstances, if we allow those circumstances to control our every move. So it is time to open the eyes and see the lies for what they are. Nothing is being done for our own good. It is all to turn our world and us into something that looks like this. And I think for those who follow some of the political things that are going on in the U.S., there are photographs that are circulating on Facebook and other places that show some people looking somewhat like this, man and woman, and now looking more like this. And the fact is that you cannot be evil on the inside without it showing somehow on the outside. Personally, as a light worker, I would like to appear more like her than like this or like this. They're gray. They're not appealing. And it is okay to have righteous anger for what is going on in the world, for the freedoms that we are supposed to have. That righteous anger, there is nothing wrong with that. But don't allow that anger to get out of control. And that is the point the fairies are making here. It does no good to be fighting against one another, because that doesn't change the fact that the earth is being removed from us and that we still do not have our freedoms back, and we still are not allowed to breathe what Mother Earth gave us freely, and that is air. That should not be allowed to be removed in any way, shape, or form from us. That is a Mother Earth God-given right. So this is what the fairies have to share with us for this week. So as always, take what works for you and disregard the rest, and we will see you again next week. Take care.